Hello, welcome to my channel, Parkinson Cafe. Today I'm joined by my best friend and my business partner, Dr. Kawshalya. Welcome to my show, Dr. Kawshalya.
Hello, Anton. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So today I thought of discussing about workplace for Parkinson's people. And the slight different setup because I have been working with Nadith for the last 15 years, and until recently we set up our own business. At that time, I wasn't diagnosed with PD, but then after 1 year of business startup, I was diagnosed with PD. And I'm going to talk about from he as a CEO of the business, and then what impact it had on him, and how did he coping up with me, etc., which might be helpful for those who are suffering from PD and yet to find a way to work in employment. So, Nadith, how long you have been in the business?
So I've been working in this sector for about 25 years, all in all.
Education sector.
In the education sector, and the last 15 years
Right.
working with you.
Yes.
And in my previous job, Anton was the CEO of the company. And then when we set up this current organization, we jointly established. It was about 8 years ago now.
8 years, yes.
So so out of that, after first year, you were then diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Yes.
So it has been a traumatic experience for me. But then, how did it affect? Did it affect you, Nadith, about knowing how? Have you ever worked in a disabled people before?
I have worked with some disabled people, but not with people with Parkinson's disease.
Right.
So the people that I work, they had disabilities, like walking disabilities. Some of them are deaf and blind people, but not with individuals that suffer from Parkinson's disease. I think right at the beginning, because of our personal connection, as Anton mentioned, is we are best of friends. And so at the beginning, the biggest issue was the personal challenge for me to accept that my best friend is suffering from Parkinson's disease. So while he was going through his own challenges at early stages, then obviously I have been going through my own challenges and questioning where would Anton be in 5 years' time, how the disease is going to affect him. I think it's more than an operational challenge. Initially, it was a psychological challenge for us both.
Yes. And then what are the coping techniques you put in place to ensure that my working environment will be good as a normal person?
I think it's fair to say that it's a bit of a learning curve for all of us.
Yes.
So I think there's a phase of ignorance at the beginning where you sort of put a blind eye, assuming things will work out well, regardless.
Yes.
So, and then when you realize, no, that's not going to work out, then I think two of us have been quite open. I think being friends before we set up the business, that helped a lot. So two of us, we've had the chat, and then we have then had a meaningful discussion where you say you will look after the back office operation sides, financial management, business process streamlining, which you have a lot of experience of. And then I agreed to take over the client-facing responsibilities where international travel is required, where sort of UK travel and customer meetings. So that side of things I've agreed to look after. So I think we very quickly agreed our roles. So that has obviously helped the business as well to setting up business priorities. And what we've also agreed from the very beginning was that the business needs to be a lifestyle business.
Yes.
That it needs to meet your requirements and my requirements as well. I think that's a key thing for any individual with Parkinson's disease looking to set up companies. So I think setting up that priority where are you sort of running a business as a venture capital sort of based business, or you just want to run it as a lifestyle based business? I think defining that from the very outset is quite important.
What is the outcome you want to achieve from your business?
Exactly.
And then technology has helped a lot
Yes.
for us. So do you want to comment on that, Nadith, how you have been using technology in Chestnut Education Group?
Yes, yes. So obviously the technology side is driven a lot by Anton during his using his previous experience as well. So Anton set up the cloud-based CRM software for the company. I think that enabled you to have that bird's eye view of the operation.
Yes.
While managing teams of people that work internationally, and also the finance system that you introduced that also streamlined. So I think it's important for you to understand what are your strengths and weaknesses. And then, so I think Anton very quickly identified these are his weaknesses and these are his strengths. So you then structure the business processes to facilitate that weaknesses and strengths. So from the business point of view, as a Chestnut Education's chief executive officer, I have no issue or no doubt that the financial side as well as operational sides are managed well. So my role is purely to manage the relationships and to be the client sort of client and stakeholder facing individual of the company, and also in some occasions attend meetings with the team as well. But Anton usually does the internal meetings with our key staff, application teams, the finance teams, operations teams. So you do daily meetings with them. So I think it's, if there are two takeaways, is firstly to have a clear vision what you would like to get out of your business. I think that's very, very important to have that open discussion from the very early stage. And secondly, identify what are your strengths and weaknesses, and then share the business responsibilities. What is quite important is that the Parkinson's disease has never been a hindrance for the growth of the business. That's probably because we have identified these two things at very early stage.
But I think that I should also worth mentioning that you kind of pushed me in the deep water when I was scared to take over responsibility. You said you can do it, and you believed in me despite having PD, and despite the PD has effect on me, and now it pushed me to the area which is sales, which I had never done in my life. But then he pushed me there. He gave me confidence and he gave me direction. So it is a mutual understanding. So easily we could have gone in different directions, blaming the disability, but then neither of us cared about it. So it's very important, as Nadith said, to understand and have a mutual relationship, a mutual discussion. At the same time, to trust the other person's strength and weakness. When he was pushing me to sales, it kind of gave me some empowerment and motivation. It kind of also helped me to battle with Parkinson. But the other thing I like to, on technology wise, what I have done is I bought a chair from Parkinson's ergonomic chair, which is kind of helps me to adjust the height and mobilize, and also I invested a little bit of money on the ergonomic keypad, ergonomic mouse, so which is not the traditional mouse, which is like a table tennis ball size, which allows you to move your mouse effectively if you're having tremors. So, and whenever I find difficult to talk, I use the dictation. I dictate to the WhatsApp or to the laptop to type on behalf of me. So these are the different skills you can use to overcome or work with your Parkinson's disease.
I think it's also worth mentioning that I think that partly helped that we were friends before that.
Yes.
So that means we were able to be open and transparent. And secondly, we have also agreed that when it comes to business meetings, we have always been very open and honest that Anton's suffering from Parkinson's disease to external parties. And you would be very surprised how receptive everybody else is. So as long as you say that I am suffering from this condition, be patient with me, and then we never had a single stakeholder or single staff member that raised any sort of objection. So they're also very accommodating. So be open of your condition, and then you will be surprised how welcoming everybody else can be for your business activities.
And then lastly, Nadith, because you have much experience in setting up business as an entrepreneur. So what will be your advice to any PD patient who thinking of setting up a business, what will be your advice to them? How they should go about setting up their own business?
Think my way of business setup is a little bit different to what you would hear from the wider market. So when you look at the market, they would also tell you to look at externally, where are the market gaps, where are the opportunities. But my take on starting up a business is to look internally as an individual. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? So always focus on your strengths, not too much on the market opportunities. So focus on your strengths and do things incrementally, very, very slowly, but do it properly. So if you suffer from Parkinson's disease, look at what are your strengths, and whether for Anton's case, whether it's streamlining business operations or understanding of the cloud technologies. So look at what are you good at. You may be good at sort of telling stories. You may be good at sort of like financial analysis. You may be good at sort of writing sort of like journals, articles, and so focus on what are you really good at. And then if you focus on that and they start to work on it, then opportunities will open up in the market.
Thank you, Nadith. And thank you for joining me today and to understand about it is possible to work despite having a condition, as far as you have the right support and the system in place in your workplace. So, but many people shy away from when they diagnose with Parkinson's, but then you have to be brave, come out to this market and use your strengths and grow your business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Anton.